Hello, welcome to this video for Dungeon War. This is a game by me, Martin Knight, and in this video we're going to be doing a playthrough, doing a few turns and seeing how the game plays out. This has been set up for 3 players. We've got the blue player, red player and the green player. The green player is the first player. This was set up in a video that we did before this one, so if you didn't see that and would like to check that out, I'll put the links in the description below. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the rule book as we play the first few hands, if you like, and get a bit more familiar with the rules as we go through them. So the idea of the game is to, when the game comes to an end, is be the player that's accumulated the most treasure, these tokens here. So our objective really is to make our way through the dungeon searching for treasure, and each player will be in control of heroes and possibly monsters that they are able to move around and get in the way of the other players and attack the other players. So I think the best thing to do is to get stuck in. So we're going to have a look at the play procedure. So there's 4 phases to each turn. The first player, which in this case is green, will go through all 4 phases, then it will move to the blue player and then the red player and then back again to the green player. So what we'll do is we'll go through each step. We've got, the first step is draw a tile, and it says each turn a player draws a tile. If the tile stack is depleted, they skip this step. The tiles are between 1 and 4 exits, so we can see that this tile here has 2 exits, one that way, whereas this one has 3, and there will be others that have got 4 exits as well. Okay, as long as the 2 and so the tiles between 1 and 4 exits, and when one is drawn it's placed so that one of its exits aligns with one of the exits in the dungeon. So these are all exits that are in our dungeon. As long as the 2 exits align, any other exits on other tiles can be blocked. So this means if, say, the green player draws this player, we could place, see if I can find an example. Okay, so in this case we could place that tile there legitimately because it's connecting those 2 exits, but it's also blocking off that one, and that's fine. Okay, then it says, however, there is an exception to this rule, and this is quite important. A player can not block off the dungeon and must always leave an exit for another tile to be connected. So somewhere in the dungeon there must always be one available exit that somebody else can in their turn play another tile to, otherwise it can't be placed. If a tile cannot be placed because it would block off the dungeon, a new tile must be drawn. So let's say we couldn't place that, we would continue to draw tiles, and then at the end, when you finally were able to place a tile or not, you would shuffle all these up and put them back underneath the deck, ready to be drawn again at some point. Okay, in really rare circumstances, when a tile cannot be placed legally, even after redrawing more and more tiles, the active player removes all tiles from the game. So it would mean that there's no more part of the dungeon has come to an end, and then nobody would draw any more tiles for the game. Okay, so we've drawn that. Green player, I think, wants to obviously continue their way through the dungeon, so they're going to place that tile there, and then they move on to the draw and play a dungeon card phase. So each turn the player must either draw a dungeon card and play it immediately or keep it. Alternatively, they can play a dungeon card from their hand. When a dungeon card is played, the player reads and follows the instructions on the card and then discards it to the discard pile. The dungeon cards are divided into 3 categories, and we'll go into that in a bit. So the green player will draw a card, and in this case we've got a spawn an orc token on an empty spawn tile. So spawn tiles, if we look at the card a bit clearer, these are spawn icons and they relate to certain tiles in the dungeon. There's one there and there's one there. So if player green wanted to play that immediately, and they will, they're going to spawn an orc and it's going to be under their control. So to spawn an orc, you take an orc token and you must place it in one of these with these spawn icons, and I'm going to place it here. Okay, and then we mark it with one of our dice. So the orc has got a health of 4. I don't know if you can see that. It's the little heart symbol. So you put the damage dice with the 4 up, and that also marks the token belonging to that hero, to that player, which is green. Okay, so that's been used, so that goes in our discard pile here. Okay, and there's various other cards that do other things which we'll go into in a short while. Okay, and then the next thing is move. Okay, so it says a player must always try to move either one of their hero tokens or one of their monster tokens each turn. If for some reason all of their tokens are blocked from moving, or they do not have a token in play, they skip this phase and move on to step 4, attack. Okay, tokens move from one tile to an adjacent tile through the exits. They cannot move through walls or into or through the cave-in special tile. See special tiles. So some of these tiles are special. There's a special tile there, and we'll look at that in a little while. So, all right. Well, it's got the rules explained there. We'll do this here. So it says some of the special tiles slow movement and require a token to move along spaces on the tile. The token moves along the spaces using the movement arrows. 1 space per turn. Note some spaces deal damage. See special tiles. A token may never move onto a tile containing another hero or a monster unless they can end their move in a tile that doesn't contain another hero or monster token. The players may only move one hero or monster each turn. So if we, in example of this one, this is a special tile. It's got a damage icon on it. Don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it a bit closer. But there's these flames. They're damage tokens. So whenever a token moves onto one of those spaces, they immediately suffer a number of damage equal to the number of those that appear on the tile. So in this case, it was 1. So if that on the red person's turn, if they move there, the hero would immediately take 1 damage. You'd reduce that from 6 to 5, and then next turn they'll be able to move across there, take another damage, which would then put them on 4, and then the following turn they'll be able to step out of the exit. So that's how moving across those type of tiles, and there's others as well that require a test to perform when you want to move across them. Okay, and a lot of the instructions are already actually on the actual tile itself, so that's fine. Okay, so in this case I think I'm going to move my hero, my green hero, to that space because we want to progress our way looking for treasure that way, and then we move on to the attack phase. So a player must make an attack each turn. However, if there are no available targets or they do not have a token in play, they skip this phase and end their turn. A player attacks just once each turn using the following steps. So there's a list of combat steps. There's a few special attacks as well. For instance, and I'll look at this now, but goblins have range, so they can attack from up to 2 tiles away. So if that was a goblin, it could attack that hero there. Orcs charge. If they have moved in their turn, they gain +1 to their attack statistic. I'll show you. In this case it's an orc, and if you can see the little sword on there, it shows that it has an attack of 2. Okay, and we'll go into that when we actually do combat. And trolls can regenerate. Instead of an attack, they may choose the token to restore 1 lost health point. And the dragon has breath, so dragon breath. The token targets all adjacent tiles. So if we had a dragon here, let's put a dragon there, it would attack all of the adjacent tiles through the exits. So we've got one there, one there and one there. If it was placed here, then the dragon would attack through those 2 exits, but not that one because it's blocked by an actual wall. Okay, and their damage, all heroes and monsters will suffer damage. So the important thing to remember, and we'll look at this, let's say this orc was here. Okay, so in the case of these two, let's look at this. This has moved from this space to here, so it gains +1 because of its charge ability, and it targets an adjacent monster, a hero. The important thing to note is that a monster attacks a hero and a hero attacks a monster. A monster cannot attack another monster, and a hero can't attack another hero. So they always have to be opposites, unless of course it's the dragon, in which case the dragon, you disregard that and it will attack every single token that's adjacent through the exits, regardless of whether they are a hero or an orc. And then when you target, in this case the orc is targeting the hero, the red player's hero, it will deal its damage to that hero, but the hero doesn't return the damage at this stage. So it's only the targeted monster or hero that suffers the damage. So in this case, the orc attacks the hero will suffer 3 damage, and so you would reduce that to 3. Okay, so that's how combat works. We're not really, we didn't really move to do combat, so we'll look at that again in a bit of a later setup. Okay, so that's it for the green player. So now it's the blue player's turn, and we go back through the procedure. So they first of all they draw a tile. So the blue player is going to draw a tile, and they've got this, which is a spawn tile, as we can see by the spawn icon, and I think we'll place that one there. Okay, next one is to draw a card. So they draw a card, and they've got a spawn, place a goblin token on an empty space, so they're going to play that straight away. And I think that they will spawn a goblin here, and we're going to mark that the goblin has a health of 3, so we're going to put our blue's damage dice on 3, and that gets discarded. Now if you didn't want to play a card straight away, you can put it into your hand. The hand limit is set depending on the number of players, so if you have 2 players in play, your hand limit is 2 cards. If there's 3, it's 3 cards, and if there's 4, there's 4 cards. Okay, so right, next is movement. So we've been through movement in the last turn, so we need to decide where our hero or goblin will move to, and I think you must always try to move. If you've got a legitimate piece that can move, you must move it. So I think what I will do is I will move my hero to there, because that's gonna I really want to attack at range with my goblin, so I want to keep him a tile away from these heroes, so I don't really want that hero coming in here and attacking my goblin on their turn, so I'm going to block that hero from coming in to this space. Okay, and I've got no legitimate targets to attack, so it's now the red player's turn. and so we're going to draw another token. And in this case the red player doesn't really fancy going across the lava river. I think it's called a lava river, so because they're going to suffer some damage. So I really think that they're going to probably place that one there. I'll show you, this one here is a hero spawn tile. It's got the ladder, so if you get a card that is to spawn a hero, you can bring another hero into play and bring them down those sections there. So they've placed their tile, so now it's draw a card. Okay, oh, we've got a spawn goblin card as well. So in this case I think they will place the goblin there, the last available spawn point, and we'll pop that onto 3. Okay, and now it's movement. So I think what we'll do is we'll move our hero there, and now it's attack. So our target is the orc, so we're going to attack the orc for 3 damage, and then that's going to pop that down to 1. And then we're back to the green player's turn. Okay, so the green player's first thing is to draw a dungeon tile, and they've got a hero spawn tile, and I think we'll place it there, joining up those sections around there. Okay, next is draw a card. So we're going to draw this card. So this is a potion card. So it says restore up to 3 wounds to one of your tokens. Okay, so they're going to play that immediately and restore the 3 that the hero done to that token last turn, and that's going to deal put them back on 4 health. Then we move on to the move phase, and orcs always better if they charge, so I think in this case the orc will move to there, and there's nothing to attack, so it moves on to the blue player. So draw a tile. We've got a dead end treasure tile there, so if the blue player is over this section, if they place it here, they're going to be blocking off their dungeon a bit, which isn't too good, but it is a treasure, so it means if they do block off this area, they're going to end up having to navigate around this part of the dungeon. So I think it might be prudent probably to seal off this end at this stage and prevent any more exploration that way. Okay, so that was their draw a tile, so we're going to draw a card, and we've got a door. So place a door token on any tile that does not have a door, hero or a monster. Okay, so let's look at what a door does. It basically slows down movement into those areas. So door tokens. When the door card door is played, the player takes a door token from the reserve and places it on any tile that does not have a door, hero or monster token. This blocks movement into the tile until the door token is removed, i.e. the door is opened. Any hero or monster token adjacent to the tile can spend its movement to remove the door token, providing the exits on both tiles are aligned. If a hero or monster token has an extended movement allowance, maybe from using a speed spell or the boost of speed relic, it may first remove a door token and then use its remaining movement allowance to move onto the tile. So the blue player could block, let's say the blue player will play this card immediately, and they're going to place it, I think probably place it here. That stuffs up the red player from moving into that token and attacking that orc straight away. So I think that's probably their best strategic move. And then we move on to movement, and the hero is going to move into this space and attack. There's no legitimate attacks, so we move on to the red player. So the red player draws their dungeon card, which is a monster spawn card, and for them it's probably best if they place it there, and then they're going to draw their dungeon card. Okay, so you find some treasure, take 3 treasure tokens from the reserve. Okay, so they play that immediately, so they take 3, so we mark that with 3 treasure there, and it's movement. So movement, indeed they need to, if they want to move that way, they've got to remove that that token there, which I think they do. I think they remove that, so that's their move, and they have no legitimate targets to attack, so it's going to move on to the green player. Okay, this is the pit tile. So it shows a single tile. The pit tile has a single space, and whilst it does not slow movement like other tiles with spaces, a token that moves into it must stop, and any ability that provides extra movement cannot be used. On subsequent turns, the token is free to move from the tile, but must roll 1d6 to try and jump over the pit. On a roll of 1 to 5, the token is safe and can move normally. However, on a roll of 6, the token has missed its footing and has fallen to its death and is discarded. As a dragon can fly, a dragon token does not need to make this roll when it moves from the pit tiles. However, it must stop when entering the pit tile. Okay, so I think we'll put that there. It's a particularly nasty card for actually, I think it's the green player's turn, so I think we'll put that there. It's a nasty card for the blue player, so we'll put that one there. And now it's there, draw a card. So we see what we've got. Right, so we've got a hero card. Place a hero token on an empty tile. So this is where we can bring in another hero. Okay, so there's a good place for a hero there. We need to use tiles that have got this hero spawn token here. So I think that would be a good place to spawn a hero, because we're right next to this red goblin here. So we're going to place our hero there. We're going to mark that with a 6 health, and now we move on to the movement phase. Actually, I'll place my hero there because you must always try and move. So that's that played, and then on my movement phase I will move there, and then I will attack, in my attack phase, attack the goblin. So I deal 3 damage to the goblin, which is enough to kill it. And on the goblin token it shows that it is worth 1 treasure, so the green player will take 1 treasure from the reserve for killing that goblin, and that's another way of accumulating treasure as you play. Okay, so it's the blue player's turn. First we draw the token. This is a cave in, none shall pass. So this blocks movement through the dungeon completely. Any player that wants to, wherever you place it, you won't be able to pass through. So I think we're going to pop that one there and block off the green player. And now I think it's draw a card. Okay, so we've got spawn, place a dragon tile on an empty space, on an empty spawn tile. So we take the dragon, and that would be quite a good place to place it because it can attack in those 2 directions. So I think I'll place my dragon there. It's got a health of 6. This is the blue player, and it's got an attack of 4. Okay, and then movement. So movement, I'm going to move my goblin to there. And he's got a range. He could have, in my attack phase, I could attack that hero, but I think I want to utilise the dragon there, so I'm going to attack with a strength of 4. Dragons have an attack of 4, and I target every tile around where there's a target. So these two are going to suffer 4 damage. So I'm going to mark that one down to 2, and that one down to 2, and that's the end of the blue player. So it's the red player now. So we're going to draw another tile, and we've got another spawn tile. And where does our red player want to place that? So we've got to be careful because we've only got, that's a no pass, so all them exits are blocked. We've got one exit there and one exit there, so we don't really want to be getting into the situation of where we can't place any more in the dungeon. So I think we're going to go there with that one, or I might put it up here actually. Yeah, I'll put it up here. Okay, and okay, and then it's draw a card. Alright, a chest card. Place immediately or discard. Place a chest token on an empty chest tile. So some of these tiles have got these chest icons on them, and these are where you've got to place these treasure chests. So I'm going to pop one there, and now it's the movement phase. So I think I'm going to move to here. It's a bit risky because the green player will probably attack my hero, and he's only on 2 health, which would be enough to wipe him out, so maybe that's not such a great move. But then the goblin is able to ping this hero there, which will mean that the hero will suffer another damage, so that's not good. That'll put him on 1, and then when it's blue's turn again, inevitably they're probably going to attack with the dragon again. So if I attacked the dragon, I've got to move, so I'll move my hero there, and then in this next in the attack phase I'll attack the orc and deal 3 damage to the orc, so that puts him on 1. Okay, so that's the red player over with. Now it's the green player, and we've got another dead end here, so this is getting pretty risky. So pop that one up there, and that seals off this top section of the dungeon. So the only expansion now through the dungeon is this way. Okay, so green player. Oh, before we draw that, let's just go back. So it's the green player's turn. I just wanted to mention about what the significance of this treasure chest is. Okay, so when you draw it, it instructs you to play immediately or discard it. You place a treasure chest on an empty tile. It has to be an empty chest tile, so no other tokens on it. The player may not keep this card and must either discard it or take a chest token from the reserve and place it on an empty chest tile showing the chest icon. If no tile is available, the chest card is discarded without effect. Any hero token, and it's only hero tokens, not monsters, that ends its move on this tile with a chest token will discard it to receive 5 treasure tokens. So they're quite valuable. They're quite a good resource to collect at the end of the game. Okay, so the game ends when there is only one player in control of all the hero and or monster tokens in play, or when the last dungeon card is drawn. On a turn where the last dungeon card is drawn, play continues until it is the first player's turn again. Each player determines how much treasure they have found in the dungeon by counting up the value of the treasure tokens and any unused relics they have. Then they add up all the treasure values of each monster and hero token they have still in play. the player with the highest treasure value has won the game. So if there's only one remaining player in play, i.e. all their tokens have gone, they win the game. And then when this has been exhausted, we continue right back through playing all the different phases until, in this case, it's the green player's turn because they were the first player. Okay, so the green player was at the stage of drawing a card, and they've got a hero card again, so they get to play another hero. So let's have a look at our hero. I think we will play it, and we'll play it here, and we'll give that 6 health. Okay, so that's theirs done. And now it's the movement and attack. So I think to avoid perhaps, see, if I move that, inevitably the dragon will probably move up and do 2 damage there, but we're hemmed in here, so perhaps that wasn't such a great idea placing that hero there, because I've got to move. Must always try and move, so I'm going to have to move the hero there, and now attack. So we've got an orc here that can deal 2 damage to a hero, and they will indeed deal that 2 damage there to that hero, which means that that hero is gone and goes back to reserve. And for heroes you gain 3 treasure, so gain another 3 of these. And then it's the blue player's turn. So the blue player will draw their token. They've got a spawn token there. So I think I'll place that one over here. This is the only available exit we had to use. Every other exit in the dungeon was all sealed in because this is a block, you can't move on to there, so they have to play that there. And then the next card section is draw a card. You've found a relic card. You found a relic, draw a relic card. Okay, so when you get them, if you want to, he's going to play it immediately, but you can hold these cards, you don't have to play them immediately. We're going to draw a relic card, and it's the Talisman of Travel. So discard Talisman of Travel when your hero token moves to move to an empty space or tile space. So that will be anywhere in the dungeon. However, it's worth 5 at the end of the game. So if you don't use your relic card, it's actually worth quite a bit of treasure. So what we'll need to do is we need to, I'll hang on to that for the time being, and I'll put that card underneath that under the blue player's dice, so we know that that they've got that card. Okay, I'll just move these up. Might not be in the camera view, but I'll move them out of the way. Okay, so that's their draw, so they can hold 2 more cards because it's a 3-player game. And now they need to move, so I think what would be quite a good strategy for the blue player was to indeed move this dragon up 1 space and to attack. So again, it deals 4 damage through both exits, so the dragon deals 4 to that one, which kills it, and 4 to that one, which puts it on 2. So we remove that dice, and that hero is worth 3 treasure. So from the reserve, blue player gains 3 treasure. Okay, and now we're on to the red player. Now the red player hasn't got any tokens in play, but they still continue to play in the game. Okay, so first off, the red player will draw another spawn tile, so we'll place that one there, and then it's draw draw a card. So they draw a card, right, hero. So that couldn't have come at a better time for the red player. Place a hero token on an empty ladder tile. Okay, so there's this treasure here. That's a good place to place it. I think this is the only available ladder tile that hasn't got a token on it. So they're going to go ahead and place their token there. Put the damage die on 6. So that's there. And then movement. Well, it'll be a good opportunity. I'm going to move the red hero there. And now attack. I'm going to attack the orc, which deals it 3 damage. It's only got 1 left, so that kills that orc. And it's worth 2 treasure. So let's take 2 treasure from the reserve. So they've actually got 5 treasure now. So I think what I might do at some stage is convert that into a 5 treasure coin. Okay, so that's the red player done. So we're back to the green player, and let's see what they do. Okay, so we've got a fire pit. Okay, so I think I'll place the fire pit here, as it's not really much cop to the green player. Then we draw a card. Okay, so Thief, choose a player to give you 3 treasure tokens. Okay, so probably from the green player's perspective, the red player isn't so much of a threat, even though they just wiped out their orc there. It's the blue player that's causing a lot of problems. So I think what we'll do is we'll take 3 treasure. There's 1 treasure in it. We'll take all of blue's treasure and add it to our own. So we'll definitely transfer them into a 5 coin now. Okay, so treasure wise we can see that the red player has got 8 and the green player has got 4. Okay, so that's that one. And now we've got movement, so we're going to go ahead and move into this space here, which is then going to award the red player another 5. And then combat, there's nothing for them to actually attack, so it's now the green player. Okay, so the green player will draw this one. So these are all slow movement. So I think we'll place that one there. And draw a card. You find some treasure. So we'll play that immediately. That's another 3 tokens. And now we're on to movement. So movement, I think I'll attack the dragon. I'll move this token here and then I'll attack the dragon, because even if I move there, the likelihood is the blue player will move there and will then just wipe out my hero. So I might as well sacrifice that hero to the dragon at some stage and deal it 3 damage. So the dragon suffers 3 damage, so it puts it on 3. Okay, and that concludes green. Okay, I think this is probably a good time to end the video. We've seen quite a lot of Dungeon War and the different mechanics and rules that are in play. There is a solo option. This is a game for 1 to 4 players. So on page 15 there are solo rules if you did want to play the game as a single player. It's also a good way to learn the game before you actually sit down and play it multiplayer. The rules are slightly changed. There's a few elements to be aware of. Cards, when you play certain cards, they have this 1 player icon on, and when you draw this you would then refer to the card's instructions of what you need to do. But other than that, the game pretty much runs as you would expect a multiplayer game. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.